Hey everybody, welcome along to episode 165 of Percussion Discussion Podcast. Please check out all of our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and of course our world famous YouTube channel where you can find all of our conversations, past and present, and these have the videos to accompany, so you get to see my ugly mug as well as hearing my dulcet tones. Please subscribe if you can. You won't find any adverts on there, which is a good thing, I think. But it does mean that you will be informed when there's any new content, which there will be regularly. And it helps grow the channel as well. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. The good news is all of our conversations are available in podcast form. And these are free to download from your favorite podcast provider. Please rate and review once again if you can, because it would make me happy. And that's important. On to today's guest. Absolutely really thrilled to have this guy. He's been a member of the Cult. He's been a member of Revolver. He's currently playing for Billy Gibbons, but perhaps best known for being the drummer, the second drummer for Guns N' Roses for quite a long while. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the wonderful chap, wonderful drummer that is Mr. Matt Sorum.
Thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Well, cool, man. Where are you calling from?
I'm in North Wales in the UK, and it's pretty dark and pretty cool at the moment, I'll be honest.
Well, that's the home turf of Lemmy Kilmister, right?
Sure is. Well, he lived in Anglesey, which is about probably 45 minutes from here. So yeah, that's right.
Well, Phil Campbell, the guitar player from Wales.
Yep.
What about Tom Jones?
Yeah, Phil and Tom Jones weren't probably far from each other. They're the kind of the other end, because I know you know Dane Campbell as well. So
Yeah,
Dane's a friend of mine. So there we go.
good. Yeah, good kid.
He is. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Probably like 40 now, but I still call him a kid.
I don't know. I don't know how is he must be in his. I don't know. He's in his 30s, I think.
He's
I
a
could have.
kid.
If he watches this, I'm sorry, Dane. I don't know. He's still a kid. Yeah. But I don't know how you do, but you seem to look younger than the both of us. I mean, I'm 51, and you look younger than me, so that's.
I'm fucking 90, man. I'm like,
But do you know
but
what?
I'm living I just literally, I don't want to rub it in, okay? But I'm out by the pool here in Palm
Yeah.
Springs.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I'm living a clean life these days, not drinking, I gave that up about 18 years ago.
Well,
And
mm,
yeah, and it's cool, man. I mean, I got a studio out here in Palm Springs. I built, I had a studio in LA, but it was small, because space was more expensive and stuff. So I came out to the desert. I married my wife here 11 years ago, and we just fell in love with the desert. Now it does get hot in
mm.
July and August. It gets excruciating hot. So I was like, hey, I'm a musician. I'll be on the road, I'll tour during the summer. And, my wife can come with me, whatever. And then we had a baby about 3.5 years ago. So, but we split in the summer. But I built a killer studio here in the desert, and that's where I met Paul Rogers,
Right.
who comes down here in the winter. Because in the wintertime, the weather here is spectacular. It's like today it's 80 degrees. I don't know what that is Celsius, but
Yeah.
the sun's out, and then kind of like October-ish through May, we've got great weather, and then people start to leave and go back to, Chicago. Paul lives in Canada now,
Hmm.
with his Canadian wife. And then it was funny because I was at this party. We do a lot of cocktail parties out here. People have little cocktail hours, and it goes back to the Rat Pack, and
Yeah.
Dean
Yeah. Of
Martin.
course.
Frank Sinatra lived here and all this guys. So anyway, I was like, cocktails. So I went to this house, and the door opens and in walks Simon Kirke. And he walks up to me, he goes, big fan. I go, stop. I need to say it first. I said, because I'm very much about the pecking order. I like the guys that came before me. It's ultimate respect that they laid the groundwork. I'm like, stop, Simon. I got to say it first. I'm a huge fan. Huge. Okay, go. And then, and then in walked Paul Rogers. And I'm like, holy shit, what's happening? So there's this little Mecca vibe happening here, in the desert. Got some great musicians out here. Josh Reeves lives here from
Wow.
Foo Fighters.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's
Uh, as far as bass players, we got Chris Chaney up the street. He's now in AC/DC.
uh,
It's 4 houses from me. It's up the road. We've got Terry Reid out here, the original Led Zeppelin singer.
wow.
Let me see. Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo. A lot of cool guys. So I built this studio about 5,000 square feet. The coolest part about it was, and you're going to love this for us drummers, I brought all my shit. Like, not all of it, because I have like 20 drum kits, but I've got 2 drum kits set up. I got my Brooklyn Series Gretsch, which is funny because I'm endorsed by Gretsch now. And I was talking to Bill Ward from Black Sabbath, and he almost went over to Gretsch.
Mhm.
And he said, oh, mate, you got to get the Brooklyn. They got the best vibe. So I played the Brooklyn, and I got this kit. It's a Duco finish.
Mhm.
And I got every size kick drum. I got a 20, 22, 24, and a 26. And I got every tom. So I set it up for like guys that want to do sessions. It's funny, this kid came in a couple of weeks ago and he brought his drum set. I said, what are you bringing your drums to a drummer studio for? I mean, come on. I have like 35 snare drums in there, all on racks. And then I got my 63 Ludwig Red Sparkle set up. It sounds killer.
Yeah.
And that typically is kind of mic'd up old school. And I got like a Black Beauty over there, maybe a bell brass on that kit, or whatever I want to use. I can grab a snare.
Mhm.
Then I got a whole wall of cymbals. Like I've been with Zildjian since, God, 89
Wow. Right.
when I joined the cult.
Mhm.
They're like, come get cymbal. I'm like, huh? What do you mean, free? Yeah, it was like a kid in a candy store, man.
Ah,
So I got this amazing spot, and like it's starting to percolate. I'm getting all these cool calls at Coachella weekends this weekend, and all the bands are coming out. So I got this crazy call. I can't break the silence yet, but it's like
huge.
one of the biggest artists wants to come to my studio. It's cool, right?
Very.
When Paul was just in there last week.
Because I have to
I
say,
love
before we go
it.
any further, we're talking about Simon, and Simon is the guy who connected us up. Simon's been a massive friend to me with this podcast, getting me his drummer friends to do it. So he's another guy who looks far younger than he actually is, and you're the same, So you must be cut from the same cloth, you two.
Either that or we got the same hair guy.
Well, hey, you both you look. I
I
mean,
I like your hair the way it is.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what hair is these days. I used to
Um,
I used to have hair, but hey, long gone, long
at
gone.
least
So
you're not wearing wigs, so
no,
that's
no,
good.
no, I can't do that. Well, just for the
Yeah,
record,
let's talk about Simon. Hey, how long? Well, I was wondering when you're going to put this out because I have something I want to tell you, but I can't say it because
well,
we're not
this
going to really.
this is probably going to be. I'm guessing it's probably going to be about 6 weeks time,
Okay,
something
so
like
I
that.
can say it. Okay, so I just cut a Simon track.
No.
Yeah, and I want to explain how much I love Simon and why he's so special. So I have a charity out here for kids uh, called Adopt the Arts.
Hmm.
And I showed it to Paul and his wife, Cynthia. And they were like, wow, this is really cool. And I said, you know what I want to do? So I have 70 kids in a choir and I have 4 schools. And I don't know, I just do it because it's fun and inspiring for the kids. And a lot of these kids that are out here aren't like, privileged white kids that are playing tennis. These are like, we have a lot of Latino community and African American, and they're the people that take care of your house. So
Sure.
they're in these schools and they're underprivileged and lower income and stuff. but great kids, great families. So Paul and me did a version of Rock and Roll Fantasy.
Oh, wow.
And the kids are singing on it. And then Paul kind of comes in and embellishes. We're going to drop it. They're going to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's going to be announced the end of the month, I believe. It's going to be announced this month, right? I'm pretty sure. So I'm listening to Simon, like I'm really dissecting what he's playing on Rock and Roll Fantasy. And the beauty of Simon Kirke is his simplicity, but it's the subtleties that make it great.
Yep.
It's very similar to like a guy like Phil Rudd or Ringo or those style of guys that are laying it down. And I'd like to maybe include myself in that ilk, except for maybe on a B level.
Oh.
No, but they're song guys.
Yeah.
And I'm a song guy.
Yeah.
Playing, right? He's playing Rock and Roll Fantasy. I'm listening to it. I'm like, the verse, the way he changes up the kick drum patterns is so clever because it's not just straight boom, 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 boom. It's not. At the end of the first verse, it changes a little bit. The second verse, he flips it around. And I'm like, whoa. And then he does these clever little, just tasty shit. And it's like, nope, no crash cymbal on the one right there. He comes into the verse, no crash. You're like, whoa. Like that simple for me is the magic.
Yeah, agreed.
And the way he plays the hat and his fills and the groove. And I was freaking out because Paul came in to hear my version and I cut it, right, with these other guys. Paul loved it. I was like, oh. I was like, I studied it though. Like I tell any drummer, I don't care if you're going, listening to these guys on YouTube going, no. First of all, you're not going to get a gig like that. Going like, oh, you're not. Band's going to be like, shut up. Right. So I am so honored that I even met the guy. And then I get to play this track with Paul Rogers. He's in the room and I'm just like, he sang this one part on the song at the end. It's not on the original. And everybody in the room got emotional.
Wow.
That's how fucking heavy it was. It was like, oh, I'm going to cry. It was like, I just love Bad Company, man. And you know what? I put a picture up of Paul and I was like, what do you mean you're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? That's crazy. That's like blasphemy.
Yeah.
So we've been rallying around Bad Company and I've been putting stuff up on my Instagram. Like, because now there's a vote. You can vote people in. When I got inducted in 2013, they didn't have that, but now they do. So vote for Bad Company. Go to rockhall.com. You can vote every day too.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well worth doing. But Simon, what a guy. Can't can't fault the man at all.
No.
Class act. Well, look, the date we're recording today is April the 7th, and as many drummers out there will have heard the sad passing away of Clem Burke today.
Oh.
How sad is that?
Oh God. He kept it very quiet, but I did hear that he was in hospice about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the Blondie dates get canceled, but I've had many, many great nights with Clem, hanging out in Hollywood. And I've just said something on my Instagram. The last time I ran into him, they put this festival together out here called Cruel World, which is a lot of those kind of 80s bands that were like, well, they came from their first album was 1976.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Yeah.
It was really like mid 70s that they brought this sound of that New York punk thing mixed with pop. I call it punk pop.
Mm-hmm.
But Clem would tell you that he really based his drumming on Keith Moon. And if you listen to him play, he had that roly-poly thing that was constantly sort of rolling. It was a rolling feel all the time, especially on songs like Dreaming. He was always rolling, probably a little tighter than Keith. Keith was more of a herd of buffalo, like, yeah. But his whole style, if you watch Clem, it was that swinging. His toms are really high and flat. He played them like up here. And I feel like he made him play it more like a timbale or something.
Mm-hmm.
But what a great guy. And the last time I saw him at the Crew World Festival, I was staying in the same hotel and the elevator opened and there was Clem holding an orange wearing a bathrobe. And I went, Clem, good luck. It's like I just got out of the spa. You know, us drummers, we get older and we got to take care of ourselves. It's like people don't realize that we're up there building a house. You know, it's like
It's true.
pretend you're hammering nails into a roof and then think about being a drummer. Before we get a little older, our body, you know, takes its toll. Like when I prepare now to go play, I gotta do different. I used to just do the 12-ounce curls, like let's rock. You know, now I'm like stretching and like, you know, oh, you know, all this stuff. And so there was Clem, and I'll never have that'll be the greatest vision I have to remember Clem was that sighting in the elevator. Such a lovely guy. You got to remember he was in Blondie. He was in my opinion, and we can talk about this, Maddie. The sound of bands based on the drummer.
Oh yeah.
What band wouldn't sound the same without that drummer? And that's Clem Burke and Blondie, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Zeppelin, Bad Company with Simon, Phil. In my opinion, AC/DC doesn't sound the same without. I'm sorry.
No, agreed.
Phil Rudd, right? There's a lot of bands that the drummer is sort of this musical inspiration for the music, and that's Clem and Blondie. And they canceled the whole tour, and I'm not sure what they will do to move forward, but just a sad loss. And you know, young guy, 70
Mm-hmm.
years old, young these days, I feel. He kept it so quiet, you know, and I wanted to call him, but you know, nobody really knew except for close friends.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very sad, very sad. But I thought, seeing as you know, we're recording on the day it was announced, we had to mention the great man, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and a
And he did
great.
a lot of other gigs too. I saw him play with the Romantics. He did a short stint with the Ramones too.
I didn't know that. Ah,
You know, in between all those Blondie kind of lows, you
yeah,
know, Blondie would take a year off and Clem just kept playing. So he was a drummer's drummer. He was a guy that loved to play, you know?
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Um, but yeah, great style. His style.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, so there we go. The late Clem Burke. Sad news today.
Yeah.
But do you know, there's one thing I want to ask you about, and I love what you did with it. I think I'm trying to remember. It was either '93 or '94. You did the Burning for Buddy album.
Ah,
You did Beulah Witch, and I bought that album as what would I have been, 20, I guess. And I remember you playing on it, and you were you. You didn't try to be something else, and I really loved that. It gave me a bit of hope. You know, I was like a rock drummer. I was like, yeah, maybe I could do that as well. And just tell us about that, Matt, because what
yeah.
you were in good company on that album.
Yeah. Big shoes to fill.
Mm.
Buddy Rich, what do you do? I mean, it's like so just a backstory. When I was in high school, I was in the jazz band, right? But I was always a rock guy. I mean, I love Sabbath and Deep Purple and you know, uh not as much Zeppelin when I was in high school. I did love Deep Purple and Ian Pace. So I got into that kind of you listen to Ian Pace, he had a jazz
Mhm.
feel to his drumming. And even Buddy did some songs in the early 60s that were more funk, kind of like grooves. And when I was in jazz band in high school, I always picked the charts that were Maynard Ferguson or
Yeah.
like Saturday in the Park. He did that with Maynard Ferguson band, and I'd play like Chameleon. Right.
So the straightest, the straighter stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the straight, more groove shit. And there was this other kid that played like the swing shit and ripped it, but played it light and like the right way.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, pick your lane. And I remember I got into really progressive jazz, kind of in like fusion jazz, Return to Forever, Weather Report. So I was always into listening, but my friends were like, Matt, come back. You're a rock drummer. They're like, don't go over there. You'll be broke living in a very small apartment. And I'm like, because I wasn't built for the jazz. That's just another ilk of guys. So the opportunity came along, Kathy Rich called me, his daughter, his only kid, but he only had one kid, Kathy. So Kathy called me and she said, Matt, it'd be really cool if you come out to New York and track this record, Burning for Buddy. And she said, Neil Peart's producing it from Rush. I'm like, oh, shit. I said, who's on the session that day? She said, Steve Gadd, Omar Hakim, like all these insane drummers, David Wacko. So I find the track, Bulowitch, which I feel I can bite that one off.
Mm.
It had a good, straight, more swinging kind of rock groove to it, funk groove. And, I've never really been a super proficient chart reader guy. I've always been a listener. If I can listen to something and really kind of take it in, ingest it. The other guy that I see do that, which is crazy, is Josh Freese. He'll listen to a song, go in and play it.
Wow.
He's like, that's why he's so fast in the studio.
Mm.
It's not him staring at charts. I've always just wanted to kind of be loose with it. So when I got to the power station in New York, I was greeted by Neil Peart. And first guy I saw come out of the studio was Dave Weckl holding his charts, and he had his stick bag. And I remember walking in the studio and there was the band. I had like bleached white hair and I was wearing like a Harley shirt or something. I'd been drinking all night, It's like they looked at me and went, oh no. Like there's a video of Neil Peart calling me the rock guy. If you can pull it up on YouTube,
I'll have a look,
talks about. And then so I sit down and I go over to the sax player. His name was Steve Markison. He was Buddy's lead. He played alto sax on the track at the end. Remember the big solo?
I know exactly. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Screaming.
Guitar players, listen to this fucking sax solo and take some of those riffs. Because if you listen to it, it's like a ripping guitar solo.
Yeah.
Right? So I went to Steve. I said, Steve, could I get 2 bars at the top? No, I did a 4-bar intro. 2 bar intro. I go, can I get 2 bars at the top? He went, oh, wow. They all looked at me like, I said, I'll kick you guys in. So I just came up with that intro fill like on the spot. Like,
so that wasn't written at all. You just did that
Well, yeah, I was just going to explain that actually the one you hear on the album is the first take.
Oh, geez.
It was like there was a poster of Buddy on the wall, and he's looking at me, and I swear to God, I looked at him and I said, "Please possess my body right now." And I kind of just got into the vibe of the. Now, we played that track live. The horns were set up directly at me.
Wow.
I've never heard anything heavier in my life. And I played in Motorhead, and it was the heaviest shit I've ever heard because they were fucking. So when I went into the song, every time they hit that horn jab, my arm would just go da da ba ba, right? It was like, and I was even going, whoa. It was actually completely out of body experience. I wasn't reading any of it. I played it totally on the fly. I listened to the song, but I played it nothing like Buddy. And Neil walked in, he went, wow, I think we got it. And I went, we do? And then he went, man, let's do another one for safety. So I did a second track take and it wasn't as good. And I think there might have been one spot they cut in. I can hear it a little bit on one spot. They might have grabbed one thing. But that was pre-Pro Tools and all that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
There was no click track. We were just cutting it live. The bass player, if you watch the video on YouTube, the bass player's in there, the piano, keyboard player, horn section. And then I went in the studio and we listened back. It fucking sounded killer. It was a power station, a great drum room.
Yeah, yeah.
Very killer drums. Like, when I say this, man, when you have an inspiring drum sound, it can really make you roll.
Mm.
Like it sounded killer. The guy that was engineering it was Russia's guy. I can't remember his name. Drums were killer. It's like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah." And I was like, fuck yeah. It's like, because when it sounds shit, you're like, fuck, you can't get inspired,
Sure.
you know?
Were they your
So
drums, Matt, or were they house? Was it a house kit?
I think we rented them from
Yeah.
New York. We were in New York City, and I believe I was on tour. I remember I landed at the airport and Buddy's limo driver picked me up in this cool limo. And at the end of the session, some guy, some like kind of nerdy guy walked up to me and went, what's your local union? And I went, what? He's like, we're gonna pay you. This is a triple scale session. And I'm like, I don't want the money, man. This is an honor. He goes, it's $475. I go, all right. So I went down to the corner liquor store and I bought, you know, Neil was a Macallan drinker. He was a Scotch man. And they didn't have any Macallan though. I'm like, go, come on, give me a Macallan 25. So I got him a bottle of Johnny Black, I think. And I got Kathy a bottle of Dom Perignon, and then I got the band like 6 cases of beer.
Amazing. Ah,
And there was like a cheese thing. I had to spend all of it. And I spent like $475 on all this shit. Nice beer too. Like I got like, there was a case of Guinness in there and stuff like that. And then like mixture of backs and okay. And I sent it back up there to the band with a note. A real honor and a privilege to play with you, gents. That was badass. And that's when Neil went, the rock guy was the perfect gentleman.
shock horror. Oh, wow.
But yeah, being in a room like that, talk about, and I say this to other musicians, challenge yourself. Even though you're probably scared. I mean, I was scared, but I was fucking nervous.
Hmm.
I was nervous, different than being scared. Like I was like, I had this adrenaline. I'm like, fuck, this is crazy. And then going in there and doing it and then getting through it and having that moment, that elevated moment. And I've had a lot of drummers come to me and go, wow, dude, I never knew you could play like that. Well, it's because I'm in a fucking rock band where I'm laying down 4 and 4 meat and potatoes.
You got
But
you got
yeah,
some double bass in as well, which is, even better.
I did a little kind of like a shuffle on it,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
ba boo
yeah.
ba 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 ba. If you watch the early Louis Bellson, and a lot of drummers don't know this about me, but I was one of the house drummers at Disneyland when I was a kid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I spent a lot of time over at Carnation Row, which was the jazz spot at Disneyland in Anaheim. So I'd go over there with some of the other drummers that came up with me. Greg Bissonette was one of them. And we'd all go over and hang out and watch Louis Bellson and Buddy and those guys. We were kids, early 20s. And I remember I walked up to Mr. Belson. I said, Mr. Belson, are you the first guy to play double bass drum? Because I thought he was. He said, I can't claim that, son. It's probably some gentleman from Africa. I said, well, come on, Louis, I think you're the guy. And he had the two big kick drums, but he
Mm.
played jazz. And then the other drummer that was a jazz drummer that had double kicks was Ed Shaughnessy.
Yes, of course. I'd forgotten about that. Mm.
He was great. And big kit.
Mm.
Ed had a big kit for a jazz guy. He was more of a big band. You know, the Tonight Show guy. Fucking Ed was great.
Ah.
And but yeah, I like to challenge myself. And you know, another thing that people didn't, you know, when I joined Billy Gibbons' band, there was another sort of challenge for me, educational. It was almost take all that rock shit you do and kind of pull yourself back into what suits the songs. Billy likes me because I got a good backbeat. He likes to hear. He calls me Mr. Backbeat Sorum. That's what Billy Gibbons calls me.
Take that all day long.
I can't say that ilk of drumming is natural to me. That Texas shuffle, that Chris Layton thing. I just went and saw Chris, and I was like, dude, it's like the best Texas shuffle. If you listen to his left hand, you're like, it sounds simple, but it's not.
Oh no, no, no. Absolutely.
And Frank Beard, he's doing some shit. There's three different versions that he does. Quarter notes on the right, and then he's got the left hand shuffling and the kick drum shuffling, or both shuffles with the kick playing quarter notes, or vice versa, whatever combination of those three. Typically, he's doing a straight quarter note. And go da 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 da, and the way fucking Chris smacks the backbeat, it's like whoa, the wallop with the ghost notes in between.
Yeah.
And I fucking sat and done that for days, and it's still harder for me because I'm so used to laying it down in a more traditional way, you know, for rock.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's great because here I am, a guy that's been doing it a long time, but I'm still studying. I'm still, you know, and Billy Gibbons and all that stuff is so musical and cool. And I'm up there and I'm playing it, but I'm not smashing them, but I'm playing them cool. You know what I mean? Different cymbals. I tune the drums. I play a broadcaster kit on that
Oh,
gig.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, broadcasters
Open
tuned a little
sounds.
higher.
Yeah.
I either use like I do use some K cymbals. I've got the new Adidas cymbals that are killer. They're more like a 70s cymbal,
Mhm.
a little warmer, not quite as dark as K's, more like an old A. I don't know if you heard those.
I think I heard a demo on YouTube, in fact, yesterday afternoon of a ride, and it sounded
Love
beautiful.
them. And you know what else I use on the hats? 16s.
Really?
Big.
Wow.
Billy loves it for a three-piece to have a kind of a little bit of more of a wide hat.
Hmm.
And I get it because it kind of fills that space with it's like it's not it's not that.
Yeah. Not 13s.
It can't be this tight thing. He hates that. He'll look back at me if I'm going too tight, which is like the polar opposite of Simon Kirke.
Oh,
When you
oh yeah, yeah.
listen to that really bad company, it's like, but listen to early ZZ Top, and the hat's pretty tight too. But live, he likes it to kind of be more open.
I get that. Yeah, understand that. Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
you're used to having to kind of change styles a bit. I mean, you briefly mentioned about Motorhead before. You did a US tour, filling in for
Yeah.
Mickey. I mean,
Shit.
it's quite a it's quite a jump in styles, isn't it? Let's be honest.
That was just a pummel,
Mm,
like a punk rock, rockabilly, fucking metal pummel. I mean, Lemmy never liked to call it metal. Lemmy liked to roll and rock and fucking. Interesting thing about that band was the volume and basically more about what kind of energy you're going to bring,
mm,
right? I say this to drummers, it's your job as a drummer to kick the band in the ass. You're setting the pace. It's like pushing with volume and energy and fucking, you're not back there fucking, tickling them. It's like you're fucking throwing it into the energy of what the night is going to be for the audience. It's like, I remember when Lemmy would say, "We are Mohead and we play rock and roll," and we go da, 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 in, and it's fucking on, game on. It's like fucking let's go, you know. And as a live guy that's done a lot of live shows, as a drummer, I have to harbor that energy, and I spend most of the day doing that,
mm.
making sure I'm relaxed is probably one of the best parts for me of what I need to do to prepare to do a live show now at my age and everything. Not to be like I don't like to be around too many people. They're kind of, because it kind of it sucks my energy. And my energy is like everything I want to bring to the stage is important to keep it as much as possible. So if I sleep in a little bit, I'll sleep a little bit more. I'll wake up, try to stay quiet, and then I'll have some food, and then I'll do a sound check, and then maybe go back and relax some more. Maybe if I was on tour, I'd crawl in my bunk. And I can't run around all day like I used to.
Sure.
I gotta like really focus and then keep myself in good shape and then get up there and fucking kill it. The whole game is to get up there and throw down, you know?
Wow. So,
And when I did that with Motorhead, fuck. By gig four, my hands were fucked. I was like blistered up. I was like, man, Lemmy, I'm soft. I've been fucking like, I'm out of shape. But
oh,
man, fucking what a legendary moment in my career. I'll never forget it. That even asked me, you know? Yeah.
some great songs as well to play.
Fuck.
The
Overkill and
Killed by
some of
Death.
those last couple of
Oh,
bands. Oh, In the Name of Tragedy. In the
that's a
Name of Tragedy.
tricky song.
Yeah. I'm so happy for Mickey that he's got the Scorpions gig. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
fucking great. I went and saw him in Vegas, and I just love Mickey. He's always been a guy. Now there's a guy that can fucking go out all night, tear it up. The next day I'll have 50 people backstage and goes on stage and kills. That's not like Mickey. I was out with him in Vegas till I don't drink anymore. We were out till like 4 or 5 in the morning. And I was like hanging with him. I'm like, dude, you got a show tomorrow. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Oh,
So
oh, man.
some guys can do it. I can't do that like that anymore. But I used to
Yeah.
up on
It's
yeah.
I mean, we all have our different ways of doing things, don't we? And are you a big a practicer, Matt? Do you still play a lot?
No, I don't. I'm not the guy I've never really maybe in my early formative years I was, coming up with maybe the working on chops and doing stuff. But like as far as like when I record songs, fills come to me, different things that I wouldn't naturally do. I'm not looking for anything fancy. I'm
Mm,
really not. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do, you know, I've just I've done some cool fills on some of the songs. Maybe like if you listen to early Guns N' Roses is probably one of the ones I'm most famous for is You Could Be Mine.
Yeah.
And that was basically lifted from Terry Bozzio.
Wow. Okay.
That he was very popular then. He was doing all those combinations of sorry about that. You know, all that kick and snare and
Sure.
toms, two on the kick, you know, all that. So I started the song like that when we recorded it. It became like a kind of a signature thing.
Mm.
And you hear it and you're like, whoa. But we were always very competitive with who could come up with the best intro. In my opinion, intros are so important because you're trying to capture the attention
Yep.
of people. And what's it gonna say? It's gotta be like, whoa, what the fuck is that? And if you hear it, You Could Be Mine. It's like right? It's like fucking huh. And we would do that. Slash go, I got the intro. Right, or whatever. But that wasn't me, but you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah. Sure, sure.
He'd have something cool. Fucking we'll start like that and I'll kick in. But like Double Talk and Jive, I start that song with that. And think about this, it's one stick, it's not a flam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Billy Gibbons said that to me. He goes, oh, Matt, I really like the way you hit it with one stick and not a flam. Think about it, the power of just a nice pop versus a flack'em.
Yeah, it's cleaner. It's cleaner.
Pop, 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 pop. It's like Dave Grohl, flack'em, 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 right? Which was kind of lifted from like bands like Cameo or like
Oh, yeah.
he even said it. Put the drop the bomb on me, baby. Right? But fucking great.
Yeah.
It's like so simple, but the point is made. It's like fucking it's not it's not that. It's like,
Uh,
Ba-boom, 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 ba-ba-boom, ba-boom. I love that shit.
there's some.
Fucking
Do you know what? One of my favorite drummers, is Neil Smith from the original Alice Cooper band.
great.
Just and I always kind of put him in the same kind of ballpark as Bill Ward for that swing, that
Mhm.
jazzy feel. And yeah, the stuff like that. It's just
I learned that fill from Neil Smith. That triplet off the tom thing.
yeah, it's great.
Remember the end of School's Out, I think it was.
Yeah. And Neil Smith's a name you don't really hear much these days. And he,
Oh, fucking great. He had the mirrored drum kit with like a Keith Moon setup with like 50 tom-toms.
yeah.
Looked killer. But I met him when I was playing with the Hollywood Vampires.
Mm.
I was in a band with Alice Cooper. You know that, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
He came out to the show and I was just fucking like, man. And school's out. The shit he did on the snare in that song and Billion Dollar Babies is fucking like
That's
epic.
yeah, that's the classic, isn't it?
And I talked to Alice about that, and they wrote that song around Neil's beat.
Mm.
I mean, fuck.
Smiling just thinking
Listen to
about it.
that song. I mean, Bob Ezrin was in on that
Mm.
shit. Neil had the beat before anything got written, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, Neil's been on the podcast and he did mention that, and it's like such a wow, such a cool guy as well.
Fucking great. I mean,
Oh,
come on, that early band, that early Alice Cooper, man, for me as a kid, I saw it.
did you? Oh,
Yeah,
that
it's
was
fucking,
great.
that was the shit. I mean, you see a band like that, you're like, this fucking all the cool shit. There's the drummer's drummer with all those drums. Those guys, there's just they're not making them like that anymore. Guys like that.
No, no,
There's some dude way in the back. There's a couple of young stars coming out. I mean, I like the drummer from the Killers.
Ronnie Vannucci.
He's
Yeah,
fucking great.
excellent drummer.
Ronnie fuck has that. He's like a lead drummer, and you see him and you want to watch him. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Totally, totally got you. Totally. No,
Yeah.
great stuff. Well, look, Matt, I know you've got things to do, and thanks so much for doing this. I've been kind of chasing you around. You're such a busy guy, and thanks for making it happen. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, cool. I've always loved talking about drums and wish you all the success with the podcast.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're at 106. Well, by the time this comes out, we'll be at 165 episodes in, I suppose.
Wow. So
So,
you don't need me about then. You got it.
it always helps, doesn't it? So and that's largely down to Simon Kirk for helping me out so much over the years. So if you watch this, Simon, thank you as well. And
Yeah, thanks, Simon.
he's the man. He is. Matt, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Honestly, it's been an absolute thrill talking to you. And get back to the pool.
But the wife's coming home. I gotta
Good man.
clean up the house.
Oh,
No.
well. Rock and roll, eh? Cheers, Matt.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.